We've got a huge week for the market this week, with Tesla probably just going along for the ride. That is, unless. Stick around to find out what that unless really is. This is Randy Kirk, if you like, my Sunday night program where we talk about all things finance, about the week that's coming up in the financial markets, as well as what we expect maybe from Tesla in the coming week. Then please hit the like button and then subscribe, and then amazing shows coming this week. If you don't hit subscribe and notify today, you're going to really miss out. Well, unless you just look every single day and make sure that you're checking out what we're doing. But seriously, great stuff coming. And then, of course, Patreon. We could use more Patreon help. It's $5 a month. Information below in the information. Okay, so here's what's going on with Tesla this week. We're going to start with Tesla, even though the really big stuff is in the macro, is in the general market. All right, so Gary Black, a Twitter guy who is well respected and revered in the Twitter space, in the Tesla world. Gary Black was in an interview the other day. He put a $150 floor on Tesla in a recent interview, and then he continues to see low 300s this year, just like I do. I continue to see 400 this year if the macro improves. If we start to see the beginning of a new bull. All right, so that was Gary Black checking in once again. We will see coming up this week the auto sales figures. Usually, I think on Tuesday, maybe even as early as Monday, but we'll start to see auto sales figures for the first month of the second quarter coming in. Of course, Tesla does not report monthly, so we won't see it there. We will be speculating from various incoming resources over the next 2 months until we get to the end of the first quarter. We will have Ford reporting this week. We'll talk about that in a minute. So we'll get some information from that. And then Tesla's China numbers will come in. Of course, all the automaker insurance numbers will come in on Tuesday, and that'll give us our first full month report. We'll see some other China information coming in this week with regard to all manufacturers in China. So we should get some idea of how Tesla was doing in the first month. So a tweet today from Elon. I can't report all of his tweets every day, but this one was important. He says that 11.4.1 on the FSD is promising. That was the entire quote. So we know that Elon is always brief. He likes to be pithy. So 11.4.1 is promising. I assume that's what he's driving right now. 11.4 might be out to employees. I can't quite keep up with all these different releases, but he says promising. So what does promising mean? That's it. That would be interesting to find out. Obviously, if FSD gets to level 4 or level 5 or something in that range, where there's an announcement that can be made, obviously that's going to be a catalyst that will completely outsize the macro. As long as it's provable and there's strong understanding that it really has happened. Okay, Troy Teslak and others are reporting that there's a 4-day shutdown in Shanghai. Now that could move the market on Monday morning. Obviously, this would mean only one thing, that Tesla is overproducing in the Chinese market with regard to how many they can sell. Now, nothing in this reporting, there was no color at all. Nothing in the reporting said whether it was entire shutdown of the entire plant, only certain lines, only certain shifts. It just said shutdown. If it's a complete shutdown of the entire Shanghai plant for 4 days, that would be news, and it could result in some movement of the stock counter to the market, or there was an exaggeration if the market's down tomorrow, or going down even though the market's up. So it is a Chinese holiday. Lots of people on Twitter are remarking that it's Labor Day in China, and it's an important holiday, but Tesla has not been taking this holiday in the past. So that's, if it's true, again, we don't know if it's true, but by tomorrow morning when the stock market opens, I'm guessing there will be some confirmation of one way or the other. So this is important information. Other than that, I don't know of any other Tesla news that we know for sure will be coming this week. Therefore, I'm expecting Tesla to continue to trade in the 160 to 180 range, unless there's some huge macro news, like, for instance, something happening with the Fed on Wednesday, or with unemployment numbers on Friday. we have a lot of big news this week. So let's go ahead and move into that general news, any of which could obviously affect Tesla. In general, the companies that are reporting this week are mostly entertainment and travel. If you follow this particular report on Sunday nights, we have been saying for a long time now that travel is strong, should continue to be strong, but they may give some guidance because by now, even though the whole summer period should be strong for travel, they'll still, some of them, be guiding out for a year. And if they're seeing any softness that could affect the fall and winter travel season, that could come out this week, which could be, of course, bad news for the economy, good news for the Fed. But watch these travel companies as they report this week. So then, of course, the Fed is on Wednesday. There's a 25 basis point increase baked in. But then right after the report of, assuming the 25, that would be a shock. If they pause this month, the market will go nuts. I don't think that's going to happen. But then there's going to be the press conference after the close. And in the press conference, Jerome Powell could say, that there's going to be a pause next month, or that there's going to be one more increase and maybe a pause, or he can say a lot of things. The market right now is expecting 25 basis points this month, 25 basis points at the next Fed meeting, and then 2 decreases before the end of the year. That's what they're expecting. I am okay with that. I'm not going to argue against that. I don't have any information any better than that, and all of these people are just guessing. So that would be my, that's a fine expectation, which would mean we would probably go into some minor recession as the year continues, and then by next spring we'd be looking better. Elon Musk says if we get these 25 basis points increase, he believes that the recession will be stronger. That doesn't mean longer, but that it'll be more of a hard landing. That's Elon's opinion. Okay. The economic data on this Monday will include, as mentioned earlier, the vehicle sales, and then the S&P Global Manufacturing Producer metrics, the PMI. And so what that is they're going to tell us how global manufacturing is doing. And then there will be also the PMI for the construction world. So we're going to hear, some indications of whether the economy is slowing down in manufacturing and construction. Definitely would expect to see slowdowns in both of those places. Then on Tuesday, Ford reports. Obviously, Ford, based on what we're seeing, Ford probably will have an okay quarter. It'll be interesting to see as they break out the electric vehicle numbers. We'll be able to see more about how they're doing with the electric vehicles in terms of a profit. But overall, I think Ford will have had a good quarter. The automotive industry in general seem to be having a good quarter, in particular in the United States. So we'll kind of see what's going on with that. The economic news on Wednesday. Now that's, Wednesday. I'm sorry. Then we get to Wednesday. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. On Tuesday, we will have the JOLTS, the JOLTS Job Opening Index. So we'll see whether or not we're still maintaining the 7 or 8 to 1 openings or total available jobs compared to one person that is available to take those jobs. We'll find out that on Tuesday. Durable goods and factory orders will also be on Tuesday. So those will give us more indications. And again, if the Fed is going to stop these increases, we need those to be looking negative or at least flat to negative. Wednesday, that would be the Fed interest rates and Jerome Powell's statements. But then economic news, in addition to that, will include the mortgage applications. Expect this to be flat. I don't think I watch this very carefully because I have clients in real estate and in the mortgage area. So I watch it very closely. I've written a couple of books on the real estate area for my clients. And I would say there's nothing to suggest that mortgage applications will have gone up or down a lot. Nothing that will move the market. Then we have the ADP unemployment data or employment data, however you want to look at it, which will give us a precursor, a little bit of a hint at what Friday may look like when the national numbers come out from the federal government. Again, everybody would be hoping and expecting that the employment numbers are looking less favorable, that not as many jobs are being filled, and that there are more people that are out of work looking for jobs. Global services PMI will be on this. So the services part of the PMI will come out also on Wednesday, and non-manufacturing PMI as well. So those will be interesting to see what comes out on those. Thursday, another big piece of news every quarter is when Apple reports. So Apple is way up in the first quarter. Of course, the entire market was up in the first quarter. Apple was way up in the first quarter. And so people will be looking for their guidance. Sure, they'll be looking to see if they beat. But really what it's going to be about with Apple is going to be guidance. Their Apple MacBook sales, which I'm recording this on right now, their MacBook sales have been declining. It'll be interesting to see where iPhones are, et cetera. So a lot of information coming out of that Apple report. We'll certainly report on that next Friday as to what we saw in the Apple report. On Thursday, the economic reporting will include the layoffs and initial jobless claims. Again, you know what we want to see there. We want to see more layoffs and more initial jobless claims. And then there will be a productivity on international trade, a productivity report on that. That's once a month to see how productivity is worldwide. On Friday, finally, we get that employment report for April. Everybody's expecting job growth to be maybe only 180,000 positions compared to 236 last month. Boy, we would like to see that even lower. Unemployment rate is expected to take up just from 3.5 to 3.6. Again, it would be way better for the overall market future if that was more than that. So what do I think for the week? I think for the week that all of it's baked in, there would have to be a big surprise. There would just have to be a monumental surprise to see the market go significantly in any direction. Of course, that's always true. We're not going to be starting a new bull. I don't think we're going to be starting the last leg down on a bear, unless Jerome Powell would say something like, we're going to have 2 more raises, or something that would be very, very hawkish. And that's not likely to happen. We can see a nice response. I wouldn't call it a new bull if he was to say that the pause is going to happen sooner. So Apple having a really strong guidance, that could move markets. There's no doubt about that. Ford having strong guidance, that could move markets. So there are some things that could happen this week. I would be paying a lot of attention, obviously, to the things we've just mentioned. My favorite, again, is going to be watching that travel business portion. What is the guidance from the travel companies for the rest of the year? Yeah, it's going to be strong this summer. What's going to be for the rest of this year? Okay, that wraps up Sunday night. Again, if this is useful to you, if this helps you in any way, or if you just like listening to me talk, please hit the like button, subscribe and notify. And then, I do this by myself with a little help on these shows, on the financial shows. These are timely. I write these they take me about 2 hours to write them, but I've been studying them all week. 2 hours to write them, then it takes me another hour to produce them. And then analysis afterwards. I do it 100% myself because there's no time to send it out to get editing. So that's why it's a little bit choppier maybe than the rest of the time, but that's how I do it every week. And so there's a lot of time involved in that. And believe me, the advertising money that I'm getting from the channel right now is not paying for that much time. So if you would do me the favor of potentially helping the channel by, joining the Patreon at the $5 level, at the $10 level, anything would be lovely. Thank you again. And it's been great talking to you.